Welcome to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Josey. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of badassery herself, the real Josey. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Josey, creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have a guest that will be sharing their badassery. But before we begin, here's today's badassery bestowment, my little badass gift to you. Today's topic is the power of legal backup, why every badass needs an attorney on their team. When it comes to real estate investing, the devil is in the details, especially in the fine print. Skipping a professional review of your contracts can cost you big time. The truth? Having an attorney on your side isn't just a precaution, it's an investment in protecting your assets, your reputation, and your badassery. Here are 5 reasons why using an attorney is a non-negotiable for real estate investors. Number 1, spotting the sneaky stuff. Contracts are riddled with complex legal jargon that can easily be overlooked by the untrained eye. A seasoned attorney can identify hidden clauses, unfair terms, or potential loopholes that could come back to haunt you. Their expertise ensures you're not signing away your rights or your profits. Number 2, customized contracts protect you better. Generic templates might save you time, but they don't account for the unique aspects of your deal. An attorney can tailor agreements to your specific needs, ensuring every clause aligns with your goals and safeguards your interests. Number 3, avoid costly mistakes. One overlooked clause or unchecked box can lead to lawsuits, fines, or even losing a deal altogether. Attorneys are trained to catch these mistakes before they become expensive lessons, saving you from future headaches. Number 4, they're your negotiation ally. An attorney isn't just there to review documents, they can also strengthen your position at the negotiation table. With their guidance, you can confidently push back on unfavorable terms and secure agreements that work in your favor. Number 5, peace of mind is priceless. Real estate investing is stressful enough without worrying about what's lurking in your contracts. Having an attorney review your legal documents gives you the confidence to move forward, knowing you're protected from surprises down the road. So, don't let legal documents intimidate you or worse, trip you up. A badass investor knows the smartest move is to have an expert in their corner. Next time you're about to sign on the dotted line, call your attorney first because protecting your badassery is always worth it. Now on to today's episode of the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast. We have with us my friend Dan Rivers, a devoted husband, father, and powerhouse in the real estate industry with nearly 2 decades of experience. Dan is the founder of Rivers Capital Group, where his mission is to help people build wealth through real estate, a goal he's achieved by assisting over 400 clients with sales and investing in just the past 5 years. As a partner at SynergyStays, Dan specializes in short-term rental revenue optimization, helping clients in Charleston area outperform market averages with strategic management. With a background in managing over 5,000 rental units and 15 million in projects, Dan brings unparalleled expertise to the table. An investor himself, owning over 5 million in real estate assets, Dan is passionate about empowering others to achieve financial freedom. Let's welcome to the show, Dan Rivers.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here, Jen. Thank you.
I gotta turn up this applause. Dan, I'm so glad to get you on the show today. And let's kick it off with your story. How'd you get involved with real estate?
Yeah. I'll keep it quick and to the point because it's 20 years in the making, but 2
2 decades.
decades. Long story short, after college, I moved down to Florida in early 2000s. And I was working at a bank and I was doing a loan for someone. And the guy happened to be from Boston too. And that's where I'm originally from. And he's like, "Hey, would you like to come work in property management for me?" And I'm like, "I don't really know what that is." I'm like 23, 24 years old. I'm like, "Sure, I'll give it a whirl. Let's go do it." Turns out he handed me about 600 units, including like high rises on the beach to HOA, like HOAs, 100, 150, 200 unit houses. And I had to learn by fire real quick on how to manage property, insurance, financials, condo docs. I mean, people. It was a big learning experience that first year.
Wow, where in Florida?
Tampa.
Oh, okay. Best Cuban sandwich I've ever had was in Ybor City, by the way.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Ooh, super, super yummy. Anyway, and I'm from Miami, so I am a big advocate for a good Cuban sandwich. But I love all of that. And I love how you were talking about my badassery bestowment and getting attorneys to look at things. You were talking about even condo docs and all that stuff, and everything's tying in there, even back to my badassery bestowment. But what a great start there. And so did you move back to Boston at that point?
yeah. So I was in property management for about 12 years. I did a handful of years down in the Tampa area, and then I did the other rest of property management up until about 2017 up in Boston.
Well, very cool. And the focus of today is to talk about short-term rentals because I want to hear about this company you have. But how did everything lead to you getting into short-term rentals?
Yeah, I think one of the most important parts, something I always tell people is one of the things about expanding or going after what you want is being around people that are doing what you want to do. And when I moved to Charleston, that's where I live now, Charleston, South Carolina, with my wife in 2018. And when I did that, I just started going to breakfast meetups. I met Kelly, Kelly, and I met,
Kelly Garrett,
yes,
fabulous.
she's a mentor, close friend of mine, coach, and she helped me get where I am today. And
Nice.
just having coffee with her, and then this other guy, Danny, who currently has 1.4 billion with a B under asset management. And, and these are the people that I got to like hang out with and be around and talk about dreamers. I mean, they dream big and then they act and they make it happen. So they got me into the game, got me excited about being more on the real estate investing side rather than management. And then from there, it just grew to where I'm at today. Yeah.
Well, Kelly Garrett, she's been on the Rain podcast, and what a genuine person she is. And I also want to just share this with the audience because you you surrounded yourself with people who are in the business. And I think that's so important. There are listeners out there that are doing this on their own, thinking it's a cutthroat industry where I feel like it's completely the opposite. There's so many people wanting to help you and pull you along with them. Because when you start in real estate, it's a grind. You got to go, go, go. And then all of a sudden you are now getting some passive income coming in and you have more time, and that's your time to step up and mentor others. So I love that Kelly did that. And I'm sure you are doing the same for others with everything that you have done in your 2 decades in real estate at this point. So
I think that's a part. Sorry, I was going to say real quick. I think
yeah.
that's an important part about like an abundance mindset. You're right. You can have that competition attitude, or the way I look at it, I'll just bring it to short-term rentals. There's about 1.6 million short-term rentals out there. We could do revenue management anywhere in the country. I only need 0.001% of those to be super successful. I mean,
Wow.
it's a lot of business out there that no matter what you have for competition, there's plenty of deals out there to be done and work together.
So I have been hearing the short-term rental market is dead because it's saturated, overly saturated, and there are areas where absolutely it is that way, but yours are performing in the top 10%. So you have really found something that I'm assuming it's unique or just that special experience for guests. Maybe I don't know how we're going to get into how to get ours performing at the top 10%, but what are some key factors that listeners should do before getting into the short-term rental market?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things and biggest mistakes, and something that you could do 4 or 5 years ago, was just go buy a house and short-term rent it. And it didn't really matter the location, didn't really matter the layout, didn't really matter. Like you didn't really put much thought into it. You just went and bought a house and short-term rented it, which was great for a couple of years. And you can't do that anymore. And one of the biggest factors is when you're going to buy a short-term rental, know your market first. Like really deep dive, know your market. Know, should you be buying a 4-bedroom, 3-bedroom? What is the gross rental revenue range for each style unit? What should you look for in key factors? If you're in the mountains, make sure you have the mountain views, or you're walkable to downtown, or there's just a lot of factors. And just making sure you just analyze it deeper than before, where you just bought a property to short-term rent. And it's easy to do as an investor. Like I fix and flip, I buy rent long-term rentals. Those are different investment types. You have to treat a short-term rental differently than you do a fix and flip and a long-term rental. It's just a different animal.
So let me ask this question, because I kind of go against the grain for this one. And there are people who will go onto certain sites that will tell you where the most profitable areas are to invest in short-term rentals. I'm kind of the opposite, because if I feel like if everybody's looking at, I'll just use downtown Raleigh, for example, because I did that. Downtown Raleigh has the best returns. I feel like everybody sees that, and then everybody dives in, and then it kills that market. I know you manage short-term rentals. Do you own some yourself?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So how did you choose your areas where your short-term rentals are?
Well, I'm not going to lie to you. I made a little bit of a rookie mistake. This a few years ago when I was buying them.
I did
But
too.
it ended up turning out great because I kind of took a gamble. I went so we're here in Charleston, South Carolina, and there's an area just outside of the main area here. It's the lakes. It's Lake Moultrie and Lake Marion. And it's not really that populated yet. You could still buy good deals out there. So I kind of just went and we found it at an auction. And I bought a house that it's like a wraparound, beautiful porch with a boathouse. So I was able to make it 2 separate units, and then you can book them both at the same time. There's a 60-foot dock, and it's got a little inlet that'll bring you to the main lake.
Wow.
So I went and kind of just, again, this was before SynergyStays a few years ago. I went and bought it, and then I was like, I'm going to create this as a short-term rental. Now, it did work out because it's on the lake and it's starting to book up. And I think eventually Columbia and Charleston are going to kind of really grow together, and it's going to be an awesome property. But yeah, I mean, I think, like you just said, people want to go to all the booming areas. I think you could make a successful Airbnb in a lot of markets. But is it an accommodation market? Meaning, are people, or is it a hospitality market? Are people going out there because they want to go visit and vacation? Or is it just a lot of business people traveling to that market? And that's going to affect what type of property you want to buy, where it's located. So there's a lot of factors like that as well. But I think as long as the regulations are good in that area, you can be profitable in a lot of different markets as long as you put a good product out there.
All right. So you have thrown the term profitable around, and yours are in the top 10% in the Charleston area. What does one do to get their short-term rental in the top 10%?
Well, there's a lot of different things that you could do, but the first and foremost is, as we kind of go back to treating a short-term rental different than a fix and flip or a house that you want to sell. You go in there, no offense, but unless it's like a chef's dream, no one cares about the kitchen being in the first couple of pages. Like they want that absolutely gorgeous. Why am I renting your short-term rental? That should be first and foremost the first picture that's on there. Whether it's the mountain views or a beautiful fire pit or a sauna or a pool, or maybe it is the kitchen if it really is a chef's dream, but really grab someone's attention, because someone looking to buy a house is looking to picture the family in there for generations. Someone looking to book a short-term rental is looking to have an amazing experience.
Yes.
So you need to hit them with that right away, not only with the pictures, but also the title. You don't need we always use the example here, the Magnolia House. Sounds really cool. It's probably not going to get booked as much as beautiful home, I don't know, 2 minutes from downtown Charleston with garden view. Like that is a title that you want. You don't want Magnolia House. So those couple of things right there, if your listeners just make those couple of tweaks and then also add a description to each picture, those few tips right there will probably drive some extra revenue right away.
A quick funny story about descriptions on pictures. I had a guest recently stay at our cabin, and she said, just so you know, I read in your listing, so she said listing, I read in your listing that you provide coffee creamers, and I couldn't find any unless someone walked off with them beforehand. And I was going through the listing. I was like, where in the world is it? Because we used to provide creamers, and it was actually a caption under a photo. So I was like, there it is. Like 24 hours later, I'm like, I found it. So yes, those are important. All right. So quick questions about, because I'm with you 1,000%. You're providing an experience for them. You're not flipping a house and putting in what everybody wants. You want someone to create memories there. And I love that you brought up the titles, things like that. Magnolia House. Yeah, whatever. But I want to know if I'm going to be 2-minute walk from downtown and I and have a beautiful garden view, which is so popular in Charleston area. So how important are hot tubs in short-term rentals?
Again, it's market specific in what you're looking to do. In Charleston, where you're hot and warm pretty much 10 months out of the year, you probably don't need it as much as you have a beautiful mountain house. Probably a good idea to have a hot tub. It's just going to help you stand apart from the market. But that's where it dives in. It's hard because it's not necessarily blanket answers on a lot of these questions.
Correct.
If I'm buying a short-term rental in a market, you're going to do a ton of research, and there's ways to figure out what percentage of properties have hot tubs in an area. Is it necessary? Is it something that'll help you stand out? Or is there another feature that you're really going to grab people's attentions? Because if you really think about it, you're trying to book, let's just say 300 nights a year. You're probably not going to be booked every day of the year. You're trying to book 300 nights a year. So 300 nights and your average length of stay is, let's say 4 days. Let's say 3 days to make it easier. So now you need 100 people to book your short-term rental. So you don't need to appeal to 15 million people, but you need to appeal to the right 100 people to book that short-term rental each year. So it's really fine-tuning that.
Dan, huge and so well said. And by the way, I am in the mountains and several others have hot tubs, but the thought of all that DNA floating around, like even if I stay at a short-term rental and there's a hot tub there, there's no in hell I'm going to go in that disease-ridden tub of muck. Anyway. I know people clean them, but I do also know that it is difficult when you have a hot tub to get someone to clean them in between guests. So just throwing that out there, but no, I don't have one and we stay pretty booked. So thank you for bringing that up. All right. So SynergyStays, this is your company and you manage short-term rentals and you are now across the country. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we manage, so we kind of pivoted a little bit. I'm going to take a quick step back there. So we do manage about 25 or 30 rentals right now. But because we realized our niche and what we're great at is maximizing revenue, we
Okay.
really focus on revenue management throughout the country. So I'll give a quick overview of what that means.
Okay.
So right now, and it's becoming more and more of a term that a lot of big national companies are saying that they do. They don't do it like us. It's just they set it and forget it type deal. Well, basically, short-term rental is a business with it's got two different features. Number one is your hospitality side, taking care of the guests, keeping the high star rating, cleaning it, maintenance, etc. The second part of that is revenue management optimization, which is managing the calendar, managing the bookings, getting the right bookings, getting, the good, maximizing your length of stays, really creating as many bookings in your optimal booking window, realizing what your booking window is, and then constantly tweaking, adjusting, using discounts, using pricing adjustments to drive that revenue. And that's what we do. We focus, literally, we have a revenue manager that daily looks at all the properties we look over and makes tweaks and adjustments and analyzing markets and analyzing trends and seeing what's coming down the pipeline. It's a full-time job to maximize revenue. And that's why we kind of branched off and focus on that one area.
So is it like Price Labs?
Yeah. So a lot of people say like, hey, I have a pricing software that already helps.
I use Beyond Pricing.
Yeah. You got Wheelhouse, Beyond, and Price Labs are the three main ones. So yes, that helps. Like we use Price Labs. However, that's the tech to get you started.
Okay.
Which is great. 2 years ago, you're probably ahead of the game if you're using the pricing software. Most people weren't. Now everybody's using one of the three. So that gets you so far. And now you got to be able to understand how to use those pricing software, how to read it, how to make adjustments. But you still, just like anything in life, if you treat it like a business and you focus on it and you really pay attention to it, listen, what we're doing, I'm not saying there's a lot of people that probably could do it, but you got to focus on it, continue. I mean, we go to Masterminds, we're around these cash flow groups. We understand the systems, the technology. We're all constantly adapting and growing because there's so many things that are changing and adjusting. And if you just kind of set it and forget it, maybe look at it once or twice a month, you'll do okay, but you're still not getting that maximum. It's top 10% or better. A lot of our properties are well above that.
I love that. So I use Beyond Pricing, and we've had a short-term rental for 7 years, and it is exactly that. We just bought a cabin I'm going to keep talking about this cabin, and it has been a great moneymaker. Now with prices so high on properties, it's a little hard to just buy something and then still make a great profit on it. I'll start there. We bought very well priced. So I have noticed that my pricing has gone down. My bookings are increasing now though, but I'm not making more money. So I need a company like SynergyStays to come in and you look at my overall, what's going on with it. Is it a software that I add to it? Is it a monthly fee that I'm paying you? How does the whole program work?
Yeah. So basically we come in and we're a monthly fee, and
Okay.
we also help save some cost. So let's say you have a couple units with $300 a month, and we come in and we take, if you give more than that, there's obviously discounts that kind of go from there, but you don't need your pricing software anymore. So your software, you save that cost. You don't need any of that stuff. You basically transfer all that information over to us. We do, if you're using a PMS, like, did you say, was it Hostaway or Hospitable or
I use Beyond. Oh, wait,
Beyond? No. Any property management software?
no, I
Okay.
manage.
Okay. So yeah, basically we'd use our price labs. We come in and we get co-owner access to Airbnb, VRBO, whatever services that you're on. And then for that monthly fee, we just come in and it's that easy. Once we have all that access from there, we take care of your calendar. We continue to
Do,
tweak, adjust, make changes to maximize your revenue.
do you leave reviews?
No,
Okay,
no, that's the reviews. So the guest services, I assume, do you manage your own? You said you
I
manage your
do.
own. Okay. So you'd still take care of the guest services, take care of
Okay,
or we work with property managers and investors. So either
gotcha.
way, they still handle the guest. They still make sure the ratings are high. They still schedule the cleaners, handle that side of things, which is a lot of AI right now that you can use for most guest communication to take a majority of that away. And then we simply just focus on, we may make some tweaks on your Airbnb listing and VRBO to maximize and make sure that you're on page 1 and 2 so that your search, you're a lot more searchable, which is usually the first step. That's what we do to help maximize your revenue. And then from there, we just take over your calendar and you just appreciate all the extra revenue.
Very nice. And so, what are some of the big standout errors that you see a lot of times when you take on new clients?
Yeah. So first off is exactly that. Like we had just mentioned, the pictures, the picture order, those are really very common. And believe it or not, just by tweaking some of those things, there's a lot of clients. Like this one that we took over recently, a little while ago, they were on page 7 and 8 of Airbnb search rankings. I mean, right there, we will get you on page 1 to 2 right away. And we usually pay, we could almost pay, it depends on how much revenue you make. You might pay for half a year or a whole year just right off the bat, just from some adjustments that we could make to get you
Nice.
on those first few pages. And then from there, there's a lot of, so some of the things that we see is like, you probably see this in these Facebook groups. People will brag and be like, hey, I'm booked out the next 6 months. And they'll be like, that sounds great occupancy wise, but you're probably leaving money on the table if you're booked out that far in advance. But you also don't want to have a lot of last minute bookings. So one of the mistakes I see is if you're not paying attention to your pricing, like we said, and you just kind of set it and forget it, a lot of people make last minute rash decisions and you're losing revenue. Or they're priced way too low because they're focused on occupancy and they
Right.
end up booking out far in advance, but they're leaving money on the table. So and it's a full-time business to keep on adjusting things to manage that. It's not a perfect science.
And I like that you brought that up because, like I said, I use Beyond Pricing and you set it and forget it, just like you said. But I have noticed, I'm like, I'm pretty much, my calendar is booked up, but I'm not making what I made last year when my calendar was completely booked. So having someone like you come in and look at it and really clean it up and go through, I mean, that's huge because I thought I was doing the right thing thinking, for the listeners out there, Beyond Pricing, Price Labs, it's a dynamic pricing tool that will look at if there's an event happening 6 months. We just had Dreamville here in Raleigh, North Carolina, and it was all the short-term rentals were booked. So it looks at events coming to the area, or if there's a hurricane coming in and people are coming in from the coast and looking to stay in the mountains for the weekend or so to get away from, it will raise your prices right there. So it's that dynamic pricing tool, but it is not working in my favor right now. And I am pretty far booked out. So, and I also laughed because we were talking about the Facebook groups. That is a sure way for a beginner to come in and go, I am never getting in this mess because I have this very strict cancellation policy. And oh my goodness, it's like, just get out of the business already. But so comparing what I have, Price Lab / Beyond Pricing, what makes SynergyStays kind of stand apart from these others that are out there?
Well, I like to say that
And I
revenue
can't
management.
really say others because you're very a unique situation here. So,
Yeah, there's some in the business, and some of
okay.
there's like two top in the business, and my partner. Well, I'll tell you a few things. My partner's been in the business since 2015, so he knows what he's doing. And our full-time revenue manager, that is also part of our team, has been in the business for about 8 to 10 years as well. So just that experience and understanding and making a lot of mistakes and learning from them. We're also in, I mean, the importance of being around the right people. My partner's in 2 masterminds that literally all about driving revenue management for short-term rentals. So it's gaining all that knowledge, but just have, I'll give you a for instance. So my partner just went to this mastermind, I don't know, a couple months ago, we'll say, and they brought up something that they're starting to do. They implemented it 45 days ago. We've been using it for the last 9 months. So it's like it's just those checks of like, hey, we're doing things that other people are catching on, and then there's some things that we're not aware of, and we get to pick up at these masterminds. So A would be it's just constant education, adapting, adjusting, understanding different technologies, and making sure that we stay ahead of the game and we're as knowledgeable as possible for our clients. And then, as I mentioned, is this is our full-time business. It's we are focused fully on maximizing and driving revenue, and we'll continue to grow to be able to be great at that. And there are a couple companies that do it, but we are going to be the best. Like that, I don't care money, any of that stuff. Like my goal is that when people think of revenue management, they think of SynergyStays, and we have a great team of good people that are focused on that same goal.
Amazing. And I also like that you have gone nationally now because there are many listeners who they live in a saturated area. I went to University of Central Florida for college. Orlando is so saturated in the short-term rental market. But if somebody had a great property out there that they did want a short-term rent, you would be a great person, a great company to come in and really maximize them to make them stand out from the others. So it is a really important job that you all do, your full-time job here. And I can see the huge benefit. So just a very general question here for someone who's just starting out in real estate investing, what advice would you give them about getting into the short-term rental market?
Oh, short-term rental specifically?
Yes. So
Yeah.
they're listening. They don't want to flip houses right now because houses are sitting longer, interest rates, blah, blah, blah. We can shift directions now. So someone just getting started in the short-term rental market, what advice do you have for them?
I would say, first off, just like a lot of things in real estate investing, is figure out the market you want to invest in and then just become an expert in that market. Go to the meetups, do your YouTube channels, educate yourself, really understand the market. And then the next thing I would say is when you know your numbers and you know the market, don't be afraid to go for it. Like just go for it when you're ready. I mean, make sure
Pull
you're
the
it
trigger.
works out, but like, yeah, just don't freeze. I've seen people 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I'm waiting for a crash. I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting for that. At the end of the day, it's a numbers game. And if the numbers work, go for it because you'll have so much more experience. Even if you break even, you don't cash flow, you don't crush it, you'll learn so much that your second and third one that you buy, you're going to just be so much better at it.
So well said. Thank you for that, Dan. I kind of want to shift directions now because you have faced some life changing challenges, including 2 major heart surgeries. So how did those experience influence the way you approach life and business in general?
Yes. So 16 years old, sprained ankle on the football field, had heart surgery about a month later, one of those types of situations. So I'm glad they caught it. I'm not going to lie to you. When I was a teenager, 16, the first one, I was 29, the second heart surgery. I was kind of an asshole, hated the world, and took it out on the world. So it did not happen overnight. But once I got into my 20s, started to mature a little bit and like really just appreciate the fact that I'm still on this earth. And I actually got in a bad motorcycle accident at 23 as well. So like that with the heart surgeries and everything. And I'm like, I should be dead. And for some reason, God's keeping me around. I don't know why. So maybe I should just start to be a better person and be good to people. And I just changed my perspective on life to, first of all, just try to change people, be a good person and be the best person I can be. And then I'm not afraid to kind of take a risk or go for it just because I shouldn't be here. So it kind of gives me that extra drive of like, I just appreciate the fact that I'm around.
I, I love all of that. And I have a good friend, Cheryl O'Hearn. She's also in the real estate industry. I don't know if you know Cheryl, but she used an example of to get motivated for people where you're sitting in a conference room and someone comes up and taps you on the shoulder and tells you that one of your loved ones had just gotten into a car accident. So do you sit there and patiently wait for the speaker to stop talking? No, you do everything in your power to get to your loved one. So I also love your perspective there, where you said, I should probably be dead by now. So let me turn this around and see how I can give back. And that is excellent. All right. So another one that you discussed, I always give a questionnaire to my guests, and you talked about the importance of finding your why. I know you have a family and everyone is my why is my kids and this and that. And I taught middle school for 16 years. So I am allergic to children and it's never been my why. So I hear this question, like, here comes all the kids and everything. But, and if that's your why, absolutely. It's a fantastic why. I don't mean to bash that at all, but you had mentioned the importance of finding your why. So what does that mean to you, and how can others uncover their own purpose in real estate?
It's funny. I think I'm still trying to find my why. I'm not going to lie and say, yeah, I have it all figured out. It's something that I really got to get into the mountains, get to my Zen, my happy place, and put a lot of thought into it, because it is easy. But yeah, like you said, I have a baby boy on the way due next month. I have a daughter. Yes. So the growing family's nice. I started a
You've
little
been
late.
busy, Dan. Good for you.
I'm going to have 2 kids under 4 at the age of 45. So like, we'll see how well I do, but yeah, just,
I didn't
um,
realize you were 45. Goodness. All right, keep
yes.
going.
No, but I'm excited. But yeah, so I'm still trying to find my why. Obviously, I do. Family is a big thing, but it's more of travel's definitely part of it. I'd love to live in Italy and different parts of the world, and just it's not just the travel. It's experiencing and exposing myself into different cultures and just different perspectives, because we have such a small perspective on just what our life holds, especially if you never leave your town. That's your perspective on everything. And no wonder why there's so much hate in this world, because everybody has the perspective, this little perspective, and they think that's the right perspective. It's like, wait, there could be more than one right perspective. I digress. I'm sorry. But so
No.
figuring out my why, though, I really need to dive deeper into that. But I think it's important that people kind of do that, because to me, it's easy to just kind of work, make money, invest. I want to make money. And then you want to make more money. Then you want to make more money. And if we don't step back and really have a plan in place, we're going to be 7 years old just focusing about making money, and then we miss out on our why and experience the life that we probably wanted but didn't take a second to think about. So that's why there's actually a really good book called Die with Zero and then Living Forward, and it's all about kind of like doing your bucket list at a young age now, so that you can really plan out your life versus waiting till you're 70 and you can't do half the things in your bucket list because your body won't let you. So sorry, long-winded answer, but that's it.
No. Great answer. So give me something that's on your bucket list.
Oh, so one of them is learning the piano. I'm starting to learn that right now, but I would like to learn the piano.
Any house that I flip and they leave a damn piano, I'm like, no, take the piano with you, because I can never give that thing away for free. So all you got to do is, do you own a piano?
I own a keyboard. I bought a cheap keyboard because I got to practice.
Well,
I'll
just
take
talk
it.
to your flipper friends. And when they say, hey, if anybody needs to get rid of a piano, I'm your man. So that's a good one. A
But
bucket
live in
list.
Italy is probably my biggest one. I want to live like abroad for, if not at least 6 months, but if not like a full year, and be able to run my business from abroad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not just trying to retire.
Right.
But I want to be able to do it from anywhere in the world and experience life elsewhere.
I have a very cheesy item on my bucket list. I want to cut down my own Christmas tree.
That's fun. I've done it.
I mean,
Yes. It's a
and
lot of fun.
and I want to hike Lake Louise up in Canada. That's also on my bucket list. So anyway, I got distracted there. All right, so another question before we get to the second part of the podcast here is, you have achieved some very bold financial goals and even surpassed your targets. So what is the process for setting and staying focused on goals so that the listeners can apply it to their own journey?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a quick story. So I have an office building here in Charleston for it's an investor hub. It's called the Helm, and we have a bunch of investors under one roof, so we could talk $1 million ideas and help each other grow.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a dream of mine. About 3 years ago, we made it come to fruition, and it's really awesome. And so every Thursday at 10 a.m. we have a coffee meeting, and one of the people there was talking about. Oh, now I just got sidetracked. So I was talking about the Helm. What was the question again?
about financial goals, setting your, and then you
Oh,
surpassed your targets, but how can listeners apply that to their own journey?
yeah. So yeah, the financial goals, I forget where that story was going. I'll think of that in a second. But anyway, I'll go back to what Kelly Garrett has taught me as my mentor and coach. You put them down on paper and you create an exact plan backwards from how to hit that goal. So you go and you say, be honest. In July in 2021 is when I hired Kelly to be my coach and mentor. And I had a goal to make $500,000 that year. I've never made $5,000 before that, 500,000. So I put that on my board and then we back to, okay, I sell real estate and I flip homes. How many homes do I have to flip? How many deals do I have to do? And you just keep on backing up. What's the average deal? What's the average profit margin? And then it's so much easier because then all of a sudden I'm like, all right, I have to sell 2 deals a month and I have to do one flip a quarter and I could hit my goal. And that first year, I think I did $778,000 that year because of being hyper focused and having KPIs and tracking it and staying on top of it to hit those goals. Because besides that, that's what I was going to talk to you about
Your
before.
coffee.
The
Yeah.
guy at the coffee meetup was telling me about this guy that he was in like the FBI. And this guy was like, oh, I always wanted to be the FBI. And he's like, oh, really? And this guy was like 30 something years old. He's like, all right, well, there's only 5 ways you can get in the FBI. Do you have this, 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 and this? He had none of them. It's like, you've always wanted to be in the FBI, but you didn't do the research on how to actually achieve that goal. So to you, it was just a dream, but there was no actual actionable plan in place to achieve that goal. And that's what got me thinking of that, of like, it's everybody has these dreams, but how many people actually work backwards from that dream and be like, in order to achieve it, I need to do this and this and this, and then start chipping away at those little actionable things to achieve your dream.
Huge. And that Kelly Garrett is amazing. Once again,
Yep.
in NLP world, we call that chunking down. So you have your big main goal and then you keep chunking it down into small bite-sized pieces. So thank you so much for sharing that. And before we go to the final part of the podcast here, where can listeners connect with you and learn more about SynergyStays?
So there's a few different ways. You could follow me on social media at Dan Rivers _RCG, Rivers Capital Group RCG. And you can go to SynergyStaysLocal.com, and that'll kind of tell you about our products, what we do for services. And I'm happy to answer any questions and help anybody out.
Huge. Thank you so much for that. We are going to go to the second part of the podcast here, Dan, which is what makes Dan Rivers a badass. And I use the acronym BADASS. And the first letter is B for book. What's a book that's made a huge difference in your life?
It's funny. I have one right in front of me, and I wasn't sure what book I was going to say, but I guess I'll go with Nine Figure Mindset's a great one.
And who's by Brandon who?
Brandon Dawson, that's Grant Cardone's guy. So yeah, it's a pretty cool just book about just having that bigger mindset, 9-figure mindset, just thinking in bigger chunks, like Kelly Garrett says, add the zero. Like, what's the difference in doing a deal that you make 10 grand or 100 grand? Really nothing. You're just adding a zero. So just having that bigger mindset.
I need to get Kelly back on the show. Just talking about her. I just love her. And I grew up playing basketball, by the way. So I also like that her whole basketball background as well. All right. The first A in badass is for advice. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh, I have a few pieces of advice. One of the biggest ones when I was early on, the same guy who hired me first time in real estate, 24 years old. I just remember I came to him with a problem, and he said, listen, don't ever come to me with a problem without a proposed solution. He's like, it doesn't have to be right. I can tell you it's horrible, but just because I thought about it later on in life, it's like, he just wanted to see me thinking and trying to solve it myself. Whether I was right or wrong, it didn't matter. And I think that's so huge in life, is like, instead of asking these Facebook groups and all these people for advice, like, try to figure out a solution. And then in saying like, hey, how do I do this? Say, hey, I looked into it. Here's my plan of what I think I should do. Anybody have a shared experience of with this work or not? It just shows someone that you're willing to take the extra step, which 99% of people aren't.
And I think that's also good for mentors as well, to share that with a mentor. I have an issue going on here. This is what I think it is. Please guide me in that. So working with mentors, great advice there. Thanks to that guy from when you're 24 years old, Boston, Mr. Boston. All right. The D in badass is for drive. What drives you to be successful?
The heart, shouldn't be here. I think it's that, and maybe my ADHD. I got to do something all the time, and I'm all over the place. But no, seriously, it's definitely the heart surgery and the mindset of not being here anymore. And it's also growing up my parents are great people, blue collar household. My dad worked at a paper mill film. He made cards for CVS. My mom did some taxes, and then she took care of her family. So we didn't really have a lot, but we had enough. to be happy. I remember camping trips and Disney, and they did everything to keep our family happy. But it was, I don't know, just being able to, the drive of being able to say, hey, I actually can be successful. When I went to that coffee meetup at Kelly and Danny, I'm like, wait, I actually can be something big in this world if I bet on myself. So kind of all that together gives me that drive every day.
And I like that you brought up ADHD because you are someone who, squirrel, just you'll be distracted easily, but you had Kelly in your life saying, add a zero, or making you write down those goals and just really kind of going backwards. This is where you want to be, and then going to do that. And I think that is great for listeners out there who may also chase after all the shiny keys, and just to, I think that was excellent advice is where I'm trying to go with that. So thank you. All right. The second A in badass is for aspiration. I'm a big goal setter. So what is a goal you are currently working on?
All right, I set this goal, and then I've been working backwards on how to achieve it. We're getting some traction here. We brought on 14 new units this week for Synergy, so that's great. But our goal is to average 7 to 10 goals a week, and for 500 units within a 12-month time frame. And we're putting a lot of pieces in place. So like, that's our big audacious goal that we're really trying to, work hard to put systems in place to be able to achieve it.
I think that is fantastic. And what is the website one more time?
SynergyStaysLocal.com.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Even though it's not local though.
Yeah, we started off with that because it was local property management, and now we're branching out. But we're still local to every market. We become local to every market very quickly. Yep. And we're international, by the way. We just took on 2 properties in Mexico, so excited about that.
That is very cool. That is a lot, Dan. That is very, very impressive. Good for you. All right. And I saw you were hiring a salesperson too. Is that still up?
Yeah, I had one interview, and I have another interview this Tuesday. So we're trying to find that right salesperson to help us grow as well. Yeah.
Very good. All right. The first S in badass is for systems. I am sure you have plenty of systems in place, but what systems help you achieve success?
So I'll tell you a couple. Again, I'm all over the place. I'm the visionary. I'm the relationship builder. Called Opportunity Architect is my title. But my right-hand man, Jake, he's my operations guy, and he helps keep us grounded, put systems in place. As you make sure you bring on the who's of the things you're not good at. He's very systematized. He's very anal about that. And 2 biggest things that we use are Monday.com. Monday.com is a huge one, just to stay on top of task.
Yep. You are like the 3rd person to say this recently. So thank you for bringing that. It's like spreadsheets though, right?
Yeah. Just Monday.com. It's a pretty basic system. You could do a lot of automations on it too, but that's just to keep everybody accountable, make sure that we stay on track of 1,000 different tasks we're doing. And then just having a good CRM, whatever it is. We use Bold Trail for real estate. And we use Go High Level for SynergyStays. So it's just having a good CRM and making sure the drips are set up well. And yeah.
Great programs there. All right. I could keep talking to you all day, but I know your time is valuable. So the final S in badass is for success. What does success mean to Dan Rivers?
Oh, that's a funny one. It's so hard because it's like always a moving target. Like when I was younger, success, I want to be vice president of a company by 30 was success for me. And now I think success at this point in my life is to somehow make a difference in this world in a positive way. And what I mean by that is that's why I really put a lot of thought into our slogan of build wealth with RCG, and Synergy Stays all about building wealth for people. I truly want to help people achieve their financial goals, however I can, to live the life that they want to live, because that's how I want to live my life. I want to be able to do what I want to do, whenever I want to do it, however I want to do it. And that's the ultimate goal and definition of success for me. And I also want to help people achieve that as well, because it feels good to help people out.
Well, you have helped a lot of listeners today. I think you gave excellent advice. I love what you said about the pictures and the description and picking areas and having it like what type of property do you buy in those areas. So all of that was such helpful information. And I wish you the very best with Synergy Stays. I think that is amazing. And do you think you'll ever go the route of doing a little bit more management? So I used a company, and I don't want to say them on the show, but it rhymes with Plavolve.
That was subtle. That worked.
I lost money with them. Mm-hmm. I did not get one booking with them, and I was with them for a month for 4 units. So do you think you will ever expand Synergy Stays to include more of a management type because I was so ready to pass them off to someone else, and it tanked. And there is a need for great companies like that. So I'm just curious if you're going to expand.
Yeah, I mean, we still do full service here in the Charleston Tri-County. So yes, the answer is if you're in Charleston, we'll do full service for you. But when it comes to other areas right now, I think there's enough, especially with Host AI. There's AI out there to answer 85% of your guest communications. And we also work with managers. So if you find a good one that's good at guest communications and you know that they can handle that side, which a lot of them can, and then you just bring on us as an add-on and you do it ahead of time. I'm telling you, in the mountains in Florida, and we actually have a couple over in Disney that you're talking about. And in the mountains, we work with property managers, and the investor would say, hey, listen, you're good at the guest services side. I want them to do the revenue management side. And we just work hand in hand with those companies. So I want to stay in the lane of what we're great at, because the more you have that shiny object syndrome, the less quality we're going to be on that revenue side of things. So I think for now, we're going to truly focus on just the revenue and helping people be profitable again.
So well said. And thank you for acknowledging that, because I think with companies like the one that I mentioned that rhymes with that, I feel like they try to add on so much and they get horrible and they really drop the ball in certain situations. So thank you for knowing to stay in your lane and do it that way. And if you're in the Charleston area, definitely check him out. This has been such a great interview. Dan, thank you so much for being here today.
I appreciate you, Jen. Thank you.
Absolutely. And that is all. Thank you for listening. And we'll catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josey by visiting therealjenjosey.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.